Facebook. We are up on Twitter. Ooh, it's saying check my encoder settings. Keyframe interval. It's 10.426 recommended to. See what that means later. We are up on YouTube, waiting for Twitch as usual. You always the straggler right there with LinkedIn. You're both taking your time. Come on up, come on up, come on up. LinkedIn is up. Twitch is up. I think we're live. We're live. Peace and good morning. Welcome to Getting It Together. I am Shy, aka Dragon's Pitchfork. I'm doing this as an exercise to get familiar with Restream.io, OBS, and a few other tools and utilities on the computer as I'm getting ready for some things I'm going to be doing with the communities that I'm co-building. HFR, House of Fluid Reflections, GRYSKLL, Project RMA, uh, the Rap HEADZ community, NFT Voices. I want to be able to contribute my streaming, video editing skills, and more to those communities. So in order to do that, I got to practice, get ready. Today's episode, I guess I'm going to call these episodes now, is That Darkness Isn't Yours. Uh, reason being, I mean, think about it. A lot of us go through life and pick up some darkness and carry it with us. We suffer from things like depression. That was definitely something I suffered from anxiety, PTSD, things like that. And we sometimes, some of us get to a point where we define ourselves by that, or we let that define how we live our lives or how we exist. I've been guilty myself of it. Um, and one thing that's helped me get through that is understanding that that's not mine. I don't have to carry that. I don't have to identify with that. Definitely don't have to um, label myself or accept being a continual victim of those things. Those events happened, but they happened in the past. What's happening with them now or how those are affecting me today is largely a choice. I'm fortunate enough to say that some of us, it's a journey to get to that point of being able to say that. So I'm saying that to some of you who may still be dealing with some of that darkness to a greater degree than I am, that hopefully this will help you. The darkness is not yours. You don't have to hold on to it. You definitely don't have to define yourself by it. And there's a way out. Um, that also qualifies the tip of the day. I think I'm going to stop doing tips of the day and let the episode name be the tip of the day, to be honest. Question of the day, I don't have one of those. Before I just start running, right? I'm doing a couple things at once. Along with me doing what I'm doing with giving updates on the activities I'm doing, I'm also reading this book that Yanni recommended to me, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Um, Books like this have been a huge help in me finding my way out of the darkness, along with the conversations that ensue after these. So I'm hoping to eventually start book clubs for things like these. And this is not an endorsement, not a paid, any of that. It used to be. Excuse me. But books like this and the conversations that ensue after while reading something like this have been extremely helpful for me. Um, and hopefully they'll be helpful to you. I started reading the introduction and I read the back of this book the other day, 2 days ago. And I want to commit to reading these daily so I can, one, finish the book, but hopefully somebody else can benefit from reading along with me. So I'll be reading a bit of this in a moment. But I want to just quickly run through the updates for all the communities and things I'm doing, and then run. I'm gonna skip doing that trending on my Twitter feed thing. That was interesting and fun, but I really, to be honest, I really don't care that much. And let's get into it. So I didn't write my notes. Usually I use this tool that I'm not endorsing, but I'm using it. There are many other tools like this. This isn't the one that you use. If they pay me, maybe I'll endorse it one day. But for right now, the tool I use to keep track of my notes for the shows, as well as a bunch of the other activities I'm in, is called Trello. And if we switch the screen share, you'll see today's note is completely empty because I figure I'm gonna just try and freestyle, see what happens. If it's a fail, if I crash and burn, I crash and burn. But I'll learn something in the process. Um, I also didn't want it's past 8 o'clock, and I let yesterday get away without me doing an episode, and I don't want to keep missing days, especially when it comes to reading this, because I really feel like this is gonna make a big difference for me in the coming months, especially with all the different things we're getting involved in and reading. So, let's go. Yesterday was quite a day. Yesterday, if you've been keeping up with me, yesterday was included a meeting that was at 8 a.m. I woke up at 1 or 2 a.m. to start preparing for it. Um, and man, it was a beautiful meeting. It looks like it's going to lead to something that's going to really make a big difference for Project RMA, which I think is going to help many of the other communities or initiatives in a lot of ways. Not I think, it will actually. Um, so I'm excited about the results of yesterday's meeting. Don't know if I'll say who it was with or what it was about yet, because I want to get a few more things solidified first. But it looks like it's going to lead to a partnership that's going to be, if we can label, advertise this partnership, um, it could do some good things for us, especially because of what we want to do for this organization and for the community at large, communities at large, but primarily the Project RMA community, which will affect others. So that meeting yesterday morning. Then there was, did we have a Rap Heads meeting? We didn't have a Rap Heads. We did. We jumped over and jumped onto the Discord, and we talked through a campaign that we're working on. It's actually fun as hell. This is a nice little surprise. I can't say it like you thought Project RMA was secret. This one's even more secret, but when you see how it comes out, it's a fun project. And who knows, maybe it'll lead to something else. I have a feeling it's definitely going to be a good community building activity as we roll this project out. So I'm excited about that, and I think it's gonna be fun for a few people. It's gonna bring a light-hearted, cheery mood to some things, to some people, especially in the Web3 space. So that happened yesterday, and then let's see, a whole bunch of other little small stuff throughout the day. Definitely spent a good amount of time doing stuff around the house, but there was quite a bit of writing again yesterday, and a meeting with Malcolm, my man Malcolm from GRYSKLL. He's a financial advisor with Prudential. If you need some help with your finances, he's definitely the guy you want to holler at. He came into GRYSKLL as a mental health advocate, but he's also a poet, and he's been really helping to coach Yanni and I through getting some things together business wise on the HFR side. And I think I'm hoping that he's gonna be able to help us out in a few other areas if he's got the time. I'm pretty sure he is. He's just a really smart, intelligent, sharp dude, and good-hearted person. That's like the prerequisite for anybody that I work with. To be honest, is like, where's your heart at? How do you feel about people in general? And he and I talked for almost 2 hours, and he coached me through some things that I really need help with, and that's getting organized. I realized that I used to always say multitasking murdered me, because all that time I spent doing all this multitasking for all these jobs that were really overworking and taking advantage of me in the past has really screwed up my ability to focus. It's also not just those jobs. It's my own irresponsibility. It's the drinking that I used to do. Um, Probably some of the other things I used to do that weren't too good for me or too healthy. I wasn't eating right. And then let's not forget social media. Social media definitely, I think, is playing a big role in damaging our abilities to focus, pay attention, especially for longer periods of time. It's decreasing and shortening our attention span. And honestly, tinfoil tingles. It I feel like it's being weaponized against us. Um, by who? I don't know, can't say. And well, I have some ideas, but I won't say because I don't want to get into being a conspiracy theorist or anything like that. But um, be careful with it, man. It's I feel like it definitely hurt me, along with, like I said, overworking for people who would really allow me to overload myself, and who would overload me too. Like I needed to learn how to set boundaries in the workplace, but you also need a workplace that's going to be accepting of you setting boundaries too. So care for yourselves. Um, so Malcolm's helping me with my focus, but he's also helping with some business planning and some ideas, business structure, um, with testing some business ideas out, a number of things, man. So fortunate. Check him out though on some. He's got going to be helpful on a variety of fronts to a variety of people. The mental wellness, health and wellness advocacy, like I said, and financial planning are his big things. But he's also a dope poet, a dope blogger. Check him out, Malcolm Rose Jr. from Grayskull. Um, and then after the meeting with him, it was definitely a lot of time around the house with my housemates here, and I rolled into a nap, because like I said, I woke up at like 1, 2 in the morning to get prepared for that meeting, and I just ran through the day. So I took a nap and almost overslept and missed the Grayskull call. I was 30 minutes late jumping into the Grayskull call because I was just that beat. But man, I'm so glad I got on the call last night. Last night's call, and it happens every time like this. Like I'll be beat, dead tired, and be like, I can't make it to the calls. And it's really hard for an introvert who's normally just happy being in my own head and doing the things that come with acting on the ideas that I have. But man, when I have those feelings and I don't want to get on, or if I can't get on, if I'm too tired to get on, I always, I'll feel all right because I'll get some rest. But it's on those nights when I push myself to get on that it's always magic. And last night was crazy magic, man. We um we went through a lot of things and talked about a lot of things that needed to be talked about. Some of them were uncomfortable subjects, but it was beautiful the way we went through it, man. But it was, when I say uncomfortable, meaning I guess I mean there are things that should have been uncomfortable subjects, but because of who we are and how we treat each other and how we respect and care for how we communicate and how we maintain these relationships, it made a huge difference in the conversation that could have been ugly and muddy was nothing but beauty, man. And it's gonna serve us better. It's going to serve the people who support us better. It's going to serve the communities and the people that we're engaging with and working with even better. And it's going to make this album. This album's going to be through the roof now. Because, yeah, we made sure we didn't record so we could be super, super. I want to make sure, well, we want to make sure because it wasn't even just me. So we want to make sure that we want to be super, super comfortable being candid. Um, so we were, and last night was another turning point, another affirmation, another confirmation. And, as a matter of fact, you know what? Today was supposed to be about, I wanted to make sure that I include gratitude on my, um, on these each day. So how about we change the tip of the day? Well, I'll keep the tip of the day on there, but I'm going to add gratitude to my list because I've been learning, and a lot of you already know, but a lot I didn't know this, that gratitude, taking some time to spend some time with gratitude, is also one of those keys to battling depression, um, and battling just tough mental challenges. Taking the time to appreciate what you have makes it easier to accept what you may not have, what may not seem to be working for you at the moment. So gratitude for me, every time I go through gratitude, I used to do it in my journal. I used to do it in, I don't see it around here, my daily planner, which I can never get to work for me. Um, but I always start with showing gratitude for Yanni and Zen first and foremost, because they're my everyday. And without the two of them by my side and near me, I I definitely wouldn't be where I am today. I definitely would be still, I'd probably still be struggling up in my head. The conversations and just the general unconditional love that I've received from Yanni is unparalleled. It's something I've never received from another human being inbound before. And it's changed my perception on the world and myself, um, forever. I mean, whether she's around or not, my perception has changed because I've seen that this type of love really does exist. It's not just shit they talk about in movies and that's in stories. But also Zen, man, the unconditional love of that dog, man, is Man, I can't even describe it, man. But his unconditional love is really filled a hole that I've had for a very, very long time. And then I also have to show gratitude for my kids. Even though my relationships with them aren't as beautiful and as wonderful as I'd like them to be. Um, there's definitely some challenges there, but man, I still, they were what started me on the path to get my head together back in my 20s and started me on trying to figure out a way to be a better person and to kind of walk my own path. So always grateful and appreciative for them. Really appreciative for my daughter, especially, who's been really, really big on showing, showing. Yeah, I don't think this is something that she plans to do, but she's been really good at showing conditional love as well, and understanding, patience, all of that, and it means everything. I'm so proud of her. I'm proud of my son as well. He's off and grown man now, handling himself and handling his own business and being responsible for himself. So really proud of him as well. Uh, Grateful for my health. Grateful for the fact that I can still walk. I still have mobility. I don't have any diseases that I know of. I don't. There's just a whole lot of things. My ability to still drink some water and feel good after a sip of water. My ability to still be able to go work out, to go on a walk, to go on a run, to play with Zen. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for GRYSKLL. I'm grateful for Zoe, Kareem, as a best friend. He's a good dude, man, and he deserves your love, support, and attention, man. Listen to his rhyme on our last single, America in Cursive, and if you really listen in there, he's letting you know that you know some appreciation, a little bit of appreciation goes a long way for him, and he's somebody who definitely deserves it. He's my favorite MC alive and has been for well over a year, man. This dude is amazing, and a lot of people are saying very similar things about him, that he's just, everybody's amazed by him when they hear him rhyme. But beyond his rhyming, the dude's heart and his just his hymness. He's a good brother, man. I'm grateful for the brothers in Project RMA, and sister. Grateful for King Mizzo. That relationship is. We met in what, June, I think, and the conversations we've had, the activities that we've held, hosted, or undertaken together have been just healing experiences at the same time. They've been fun experiences, enjoyable experiences that help, that tie to the two things that are my favorites. The phrase he coined, hip hop times social impact. Those are the things that really, really make my heart, my blood pump, and his passion for those things is really helped us bond. And I love the dude, man. Mizzo, you dope, man. I should name every single member of GRYSKLL, to be honest, too. But I mean, there's not a lot of time, and there's a lot of dudes, man. It's 10 of us, man. So everybody in GRYSKLL, like I said. So even though I mentioned Zoe, single Zoe out, is a special relationship that he and I have. Um, and everybody, in a group that large or in a family that large, you have something a little closer or something special. But there's also, I'm building something special and different with each person, just at different rates in the crew. Demond and I have been building and checking in even more and more lately. He's always been like running right there beside me. We may not even know what each other are doing, but Demond is a runner. He's a worker. He's a grinder. He's a hustler. Um, Q, when you guys heard about Malcolm, Q, he is, man, he reminds me of myself in a lot of ways, because for a variety of reasons. We even joked about last night how we both often land on opposite sides of how we feel about different songs. Like a lot of the music he loves, I hate. A lot of the music I love, he hates. But somehow we have the songs that we love at the same time are fucking through the roof and amazing. But I appreciate him for all of his effort and his progress that he's made since we've connected, and since he's joined GRYSKLL. It's been inspiring. I appreciate him for really helping to take the lead and helping to make sure the gray space keeps going. Him for feeling my lifelong dream of finding an engineering partner who will really work, who cares and who's passionate about the music that we make, and will put his everything into the mixes, and who accepts feedback and really tries to work with the feedback that I have. It's always been a dream. It's always been something I said I needed, was an engineering partner who's invested in the music. And through Q, I got it, man. And I couldn't be more happy and appreciative of that. And, there are a number of other reasons. Him helping out with the tech. He's helped create some tech solutions that'll help us work together more efficiently as a crew. So that's important. Sheed is from day one. He's the first person in GRYSKLL that I ever engaged with or worked with on something, with the song that we did called Mini Zippers that we select to drop. Excuse me. Um, and Sheed has just been steadfast. He's been very honest, straightforward with me on a lot of shit. And he's the guy that I'm looking to help support Malcolm and I on leading the business end of GRYSKLL as we get off the ground. So, and she just like I appreciate him because he really helps tickle that need for me to have some rhymes that I have to really really work to comprehend, understand, and appreciate at times. The double, triple, and octuple entendres that he drops in his rhymes. I mean, there's so much meaning in his rhymes, and his rhymes. I still There's a song we're doing called "Winners and Losers" that we're in the process of mixing. His verse on there is so layered that he recorded it months ago, and I still this week was still just like analyzing and learning more from the verse, learning more about his intention, and learning more about him as a person through the verse. So, and he does that often on damn near every verse, if not every verse that he drops. The dude is an amazing writer, penman, and MC. So I appreciate the hell out of him, and he's been supportive as hell, man. He's really had my back and other people's backs at time in ways and at times that the average person wouldn't do, and it's really meant a lot. So Sheed, um, T Bear, he's the second person from GRYSKLL that I engaged with in some way, shape, or form. He's the guy that he picked some instrumentals that I submitted to the Hip Hop Digest show, and we were doing this thing called Snare Slap Saturdays, where we just producers would just send beats in on the group thread. It's like a text thread, group me thread actually, and he put together a mixtape with beats from some of the people who submitted. He picked a few beats for those, and I think he did a blend or a mix with one of my beats or a couple of my beats before we ever met or spoke, and that kind of helped inspire me to want to engage with people musically online a little bit more, and to try to reach out and ask for collaboration. So T Bear has been a huge help. He also leads the charge with keeping that Real Rhymes account going. He jumped right in after I started doing Real Rhymes and started doing the DJ Reels. So he was, my co-pilot on getting, farming for the MCs that ended up becoming GRYSKLL, and for part of the community that's connected to us. Between my beats and his DJ Reels, we really spun something up. So I appreciate him for that. I appreciate him for replay value. I appreciate him for his honesty and his bluntness when he comes to the table, and his just his sacrifices too. He's a father of quite a few. He works really hard. He's got a wife, and he's had to really sacrifice to contribute and be a member of the crew and bring what he brings to the table, man. So I appreciate T Bear. Mid School is just another genius who's always putting the batteries in the back, helping to interpret ideas, helping to bring new ideas and interpretations to what we do, to me, myself. I mean, he's pointed some things out that have helped me understand myself better. I mean, he's the one that helped me understand that one of the things I do best is identify and locate genius. I'm like a Professor X in some ways, in that I identify, locate genius, and try to bring them into the fold or into connection, either as a guest or member of the show, as a member of the crew, or just people that we really mess with. And I wish I could do it with more and more people, and I'm hoping to be able to do that with more and more people once we get finances figured out better. Mid is also an incredible MC. The dude is sharp as hell. He's helped me. He's the one that introduced me to Trello. He's helped me figure out ways to get more organized. So big thanks to Mid as well. Why am I not on cam? I guess I might as well still be on cam for this. um who else? Shit, there's so many of us. Like I said, there's 10 of us. Alex, Tobias Black. He's like Sheet always talks about how Alex drew him out and made him start putting out music. um he Tobias is the reason that the Black Mavericks exist, and they started putting out music, and he helped Sheed get over that perfectionism hump. I guess I'll call it perfectionism. There might be another term for it, but he helped him get over that, And that made a difference, a huge difference for Sheed and putting music out. And what Tobias does with the kids at his school helped spark the idea for GRYSKLL, which is our kids initiative that we have yet to launch in the way that we really want to, that I really want to, but the plans have been expanding and solidifying, and I'm documenting them now, which I think will help us really get off the ground. He's created some inroads for a way that I've always felt like a way for me to do something I've always felt was important for me to do since my teens, but I didn't know how to do because I don't consider myself a teacher, and I feel like it's always been. Yeah, I learned in my 20s it's always our responsibilities to teach um, our youth, and he does it, and he's shown me ways that I'll be able to do it without you know struggling to do it because I couldn't do it in the ways that I thought I should do it before. Now I see a way that I can do it through GRYSKLL, and that's part of that's through through building and creating a team that can do that. Maybe I may not be able to be a person who can walk through a lesson plan with a kid and give a kid a lesson that they'll walk away from, but I can build the resources that will enable kids to be able to do that. And appreciate him for that, for what he brings there, the inspiration that he brings, and the energy he brings, and the appreciation he brings to the table, man. And I also appreciate him really like appreciating what GRYSKLL is about and what GRYSKLL does. I mean, he took it upon himself after one of those episodes last year to create the song Therapy over a Sick and Black beat. Shout out to Sick too, who I consider an honorary member of GRYSKLL and a member if we can ever get it all together, if I can get it all together, really. Um, uh, that song Therapy was like is a perfect song for what I feel I wanted to do musically, which was to bring healing through hip hop, and I wanted to figure out how to do it in a non corny way, and this whole crew has been helping me do it in a non corny way, in a dope way. Alex is one of the people who really did that, and I appreciate him experimenting and just doing his own thing. His last single Feels Good was dope. It was really a beautiful, fun song. I didn't know how to feel about it at first, and it grew on me. And I love the fact that he takes risks and he does so many different things. So, Alex, Hydro, we don't talk a whole lot, and that's part of what I appreciate about him. Actually, is that when or if I call him like, "Yo, I need you," I know the brother's gonna be there. He's been there every time. I'm like, "Yo, I just need to hit you, and I need you." We may not speak for months, but when I do, he's yo, what's up? I'm in. And he's shown so much love from day one. I mean, when we started doing those reels, Dro was he was going bananas on those reels, and he was having fun with them. And he's shown appreciation for saying that those beats and the music that we were doing back then or putting out back then, how that really helped him heal and connect with the part of himself as an MC that he needed to reconnect with, or and that's what the music has done for me. So Hydro, appreciate the hell out of you too, bro. Um, I don't even know if he's on the platforms that this streams to, so I don't even know what I'm saying. Appreciate you, but if you are watching, bro, I really appreciate you, man. You mean a lot. Um, who am I missing? Demand, Kareem. I just have to go through the founder members first. There's six founders, including myself. There's Demand, Kareem, Sheed, T Bear, and Alex. I already talked about all them. Myself, so that makes the six. And then I go in order of who got added. Mid school, yes, I got mid school. Talked about Q, who was the second. Malcolm, and then Hydro. So that's all 10. That's GRYSKLL. Thank you. I'm grateful for GRYSKLL. Sorry for all that for the distance, how long that took to do. Um, and I'm grateful to have a home. I'm grateful for a whole lot of things. I'm grateful to have a place to be while my furnace is on the funk. Uh, and I'm grateful to have the opportunity to make something happen. Um, so gratitude is something that's being added to my list. Um, I spent a lot. I really don't want to make this a big, long, drawn out thing, and it already is. So let's see if there's anything quickly I can run through about the other things I'm doing. HFR family meeting. I sent out the email invite for the family meeting. It's going to be December 18th. Um, yeah, uh, simple agenda, man. I really want to just close out the year with the people who we consider family through the HFR community, the people that we've collaborated with, we want to collaborate with, the people who supported us by donating, the people who we just connected with, or the people we just respect as artists, creators, or people, um, and loved ones. So we're gonna have that HFR family meeting Sunday, December 18th, 4 p.m. I think it's 4 p.m. I gotta double check the time. But I'm excited about that. Um, and we were supposed to do the second episode and the first virtual episode of NFT Backstories today, um, which I'm planning on renaming the Web3 Backstories. But Yanni's really working hard on this yoga teacher training, and I don't think she needs to be derailed or distracted with anything else. I know she does. I know she knows she doesn't need to, but I'm realizing I need to just back up, give her more room to work, and not ask anything of her until she's finished. She plans on being done on the 19th, so trying to stay out of her way till then and just be supportive, man. Just trying to make sure she's cared for in this time, and that she's got the energy and the stamina and feels good continuing to bust her butt on this. So um, HFR is going to be pretty quiet, um, to be honest. I even feel bad about scheduling the family meeting, but I feel like we have to get one more in before the end of the year. Um, maybe I'm being overzealous. Who knows? We'll find out. Like life will tell us. You got your GRYSKLL update already. Project RMA, you kind of got your update on that. The Rap Heads community, we got our space tomorrow evening. We've I think I've kind of explained that I feel like I'm taking on more of a role in the community, and I feel like more of a strong contributing member of the community, which means a lot to me because I want to support my brother Mizzo and what he's doing. And kind of tied to Project RMA and Rap Heads community, I have to actually also mention Full Plate NFT. That's Expo Heathy's initiative for feeding the hungry in Chicago. Thanks to Blankets to the Streets Beta, we've gotten some extra blankets. He's gotten some extra blankets to give out with his plates. He got 2 full plates purchased by Mizzo on Mizzo's birthday. The brother went out of his way to go do something kind for somebody else on his own birthday. I mean, come on, man. This is the type of people I'm surrounded with. And these are the type of people that I feel like deserve more support. And especially because we're doing good for people we don't even know. They're doing good for people they don't even know. I say we because we really are that well entrenched in each other's initiatives. So Full Plate is, yes, that's Expo Heathy's initiative, but it's my initiative too because I want as much support to go to him and his initiative as possible because his brother's doing something important and special to feed people in Chicago. You'll learn about him because he's going to be the first guest on NFT Backstories or Web3 Backstories when we do this, and you'll also hear a surprise announcement when we do that. We're also doing those educational Twitter spaces every day, every weekday at 3 p.m. Expo Heathy is leading those. I'm co-hosting those to teach people about Web3, NFTs, crypto, blockchain. Um, and I'm there to learn as much as I am there to share whatever I've learned. But he's just, I mean, the brother's giving so much, and he deserves so much inbound. And his initiative, Full Plate NFT, also deserves support inbound. So check out Expo Heathy, check out Full Plate NFT, buy a full plate. If you can't buy it with, if you don't do crypto and you don't feel comfortable doing crypto, but you want to support and buy a plate, yo, let's cash app. Send a cash app to him. Send it to me. I'll buy it for you, whatever. But let's help feed these people in Chicago. He's got 2 full plates purchased, which will help him get food to feed a few people this Saturday. But if we can sell some more, he can feed a lot of people. Last time he fed 20 people by coming out of pocket on top of the donations that somebody gave him. And he was able to feed 20 people off of that. We got 2 plates purchased this time. We got some blankets. If we can get some more plates purchased, maybe he can feed 20 people again this time without coming out of pocket because I mean, the brother's working on initiatives that we're building. So there's no income right now. So buying full plates helps him go do something charitable for others in the midst of, you know, our own challenges and struggles. So Full Plate NFT, don't forget. NFT Voices. Sunday, we have our mental maintenance space again. We're doing what I believe will be the last episode of our Autism, ADHD, and Unmasking series with Devin Gann and Homer Reed Jr., hosted by myself and Drip Lord. I'm not sure if Tyler will be able to make it right now. I know that the brother's got a lot of family stuff going on. He's got a project going on. He's working. Tyler's got his hands full. Drip Lord, Kyle, and I are trying to hold it down as much as we can in his absence. But can't wait for you to come back, Tyler. And I made it to that's the other thing from yesterday. I made it to Tyler's game daytime space. He does a Twitch stream every Wednesday at noon. And I've been meaning to get there just to show support and just to kind of hang out with him because he's a really kind and generous and nice guy, and genuinely kind, generous, nice. There's nothing fake about it. And he has a fun NFT project called Skull of Tiger. Um, and he makes it a whole lot of fun because he generates some of his NFTs in these spaces, like the Twitch space I did yesterday, by playing games with the people in his community and his interviewee. He was interviewing Myra from I believe her NFT project is Mermaids from Space yesterday, and they were actually creating an NFT. I think there was a fundraiser for something related to her. I'm not sure, but the community. What he does is has the community play games like Battleship, Connect Four, and stuff like that in order to determine which traits will be featured on the NFT that they're building that day. And it's for his oh, I'm forgetting the name. Why is the name blanking? It's Johnny. I'll come back, but he's got this character that he does, that he creates NFTs for with and he creates different variations, different skin tones, different outfits, different backgrounds, different things that take place in the scene, different skies, all that stuff. Yesterday I saw he even had an option where you play a game, and based on the results of your round of that game, you got to determine whether there would be birds in the scene or not. So it was really dope seeing how he does this, and I'm excited. I'm excited for him, and I was really excited to have a chance to actually get involved and play. I got to play around the battleship, on that. Plinko. I still don't understand Plinko to be honest, but that was dope. And then Connect Four, I got to do a round of Connect Four, not even a round of the game, but I got to you know have him drop the piece that I selected in a slot that Myra selected because it's Tyler's community, I guess, kind of versus the guest on the show. The way he's doing it, it's dope, man. Um, but that's it on the updates part. Let me just run through real quick and do some of the reading because gotta get better, gotta do better, gotta be better. Um, and then we'll shut this down. Also, um, I'm testing out a new camera, not a new camera, but my camera that I bought for the work stuff last year. This is the camera I use for our episodes of Artist Touch. I used to use it for most of our episodes of GRYSKLL before. It was just about get her done, and I was really struggling to get this thing working inside of OBS this morning. OBS just keeps crashing when I use the software. It's one thing I don't like about Sony cameras. Is, um, their proprietary software. I've never, always had problems with Sony because of a lot of the proprietary stuff they do. But I love the image on this camera, and I'm trying to see if I can get it working within OBS. Right now, what I'm doing is actually a screen share. Well, it's a window capture. So Sony has some software that you can use called image capture, or remote viewer. With remote viewer, you can pull up an app on the screen that you can use to see the display from the camera or the image from the camera. So what I did was I'm doing a window capture looking at that remote viewer um, app, which is providing you the image where you see me right now. I love the texture of these images, and I love the depth of field. Like you see how it's blurry behind me, but I'm clear. That's dope. And I'm excited to be using this camera. I hope I get to use it more, and I hope I end up loving what happens. I definitely love this better than the MacBook camera. But all right, knock out this reading so we can shut her down. Little sip of water first, because if you know me, you know I yawn as I read. I struggle to get enough oxygen while I read. And, they say water provides oxygen, O2, H2O. Uh, excuse me. All right, so again, the book Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza, Doctor of Chiropractic. My receipt for a bookmark. We stopped yesterday on the introduction, halfway through the introduction, because I'd read the back cover, a few of the a bit about the beginning, and I already talked about the book and talked about why I'm doing this, and that felt like it took forever, so I wanted to make sure I stopped at a decent point. So next, we're talking about the different parts of the book. The book's broken down into three parts, and in this part of the introduction, he gets into breaking down what each part is for. So, part one is the science of you. Let's go. Our exploration will start with an overview. Let's make sure the mic is somewhere. All right, part one, the science of you. Our exploration will start with an overview of philosophical and scientific paradigms related to the latest research about the nature of reality, who you are, why change has been so difficult for so many, and what is possible for you as a human being. Part one will be an easy read, I promise. Chapter one, The Quantum You, introduces you to a bit of quantum physics, but don't be alarmed. I start there because it is important that you begin to embrace the concept that your subjective mind has an effect on your objective world. Subjective and objective are in quotes here. The observer effect in quantum physics states that where you direct your attention is where you place your energy. As a consequence, you affect the material world, which, by the way, is made mostly of energy. If you entertain the idea that if you entertain that idea even for a moment, you might start focusing on what you want instead of what you don't want. Big thing for me, because especially like when I'm going through this period of having the finances figured out, it can get stressful, it can get scary, and it can definitely be a pain in the buttocks for me. I want to be in the sunlight, man. I want sunlight. Camera's struggling because I think of the sunlight is struggling to autofocus. Let's kill the autofocus real quick. Wah, 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 wah. Boom. My depth of field is set a little too low here as well. So pardon me if it's not completely crispy. My glasses are a little foggy. But all right, so yeah, I was struggling with that I guess what people call it, the lack mindset, worrying about how I'm going to pay the bills, how I'm going to keep things from getting cut off, and it was to the point that that was the prevailing thought in my head, and that was creating more and more challenges for me on top of the challenges that were already there, which were the bills and things falling apart. Um, so I'm fortunate to have gone through this experience of struggling and suffering through this stuff, because one thing I've learned is that I'm going to be all right no matter what. These things are material. If they got to go, they got to go. If I got to start from scratch and if I got to live on a bench, I got to live on a bench for a while, but it's going to, either way, I'm going to be okay. Um, so focusing on what I want instead of focusing on that is definitely making a difference in how I feel day to day, which changes how I show up and affects how effective I am and how happy and therefore healthy I am. Um, so here we go. Start focusing on what you want instead of what you don't want. And you might even find yourself thinking, if an atom is 99.9999% energy and 0.00001% physical substance, he's got that annotated, so I could go look for the annotation, but I'm not. Percent physical substance, then I'm actually more nothing than something. That's actually a bomb to me in my head. It There's so many different things I'm thinking right now about that, but think about that. If an atom is 99.9999% energy and 0.00001% physical substance. So us, the human beings, being physical substance, what if the us that makes us up is way more energy than just this physical shell and this brain and the mind? Um, there's an energy that is necessary in order to keep us alive, to keep us going. It's not just all physical. Um, and there's that scientific law. I believe it's a law that energy can never be created nor destroyed. So if we're part energy as well, and it's if an atom is that much energy versus physical substance, what if we're that same thing? What if if there's that much energy, especially when you think about how they say we don't even use 10% of our brain power? What if, Lucy, what if we could really tap into all of our brain power, which isn't just brain power, probably. It's probably some energy in there too. I mean, the brain conducts electricity. There's energy. There, there's so many different rabbit holes my mind runs into when reading something like this. So if an atom is 999 blah percent energy and 0.01% physical substance, then I'm actually more nothing than something. So why do I keep my attention on that small percentage of the physical world when I am so much more? Is defining my present reality by what I perceive with my senses the biggest limitation I have? Great question to ask yourself or think about. In chapters 2 through 4, we will look at what it means to change, to become greater than the environment, the body, and time. You've probably entertained the idea that your thoughts create your life. But in chapter 2, Overcoming Your Environment, I discuss how if you allow the outer world to control how you think and feel, your external environment is patterning circuits in your brain to make you think equal to everything familiar to you. The result is that you create more of the same. You hardwire your brain to reflect the problems, personal conditions, and circumstances in your life. So to change, you must be greater than all things physical in your life. So again, why I can't focus on the challenges that are going on in the world too heavily. Got to focus more on tapping into this energy within me to affect and change the world around me. Chapter 3, Overcoming Your Body, continues to look at how we unconsciously live by a set of memorized behaviors, thoughts, and emotional reactions, all running like computer programs behind the scenes of your conscious awareness. That's why it is not enough to think positive, because most of who we are might reside subconsciously as negativity in the body. By the end of this book, you will know how to enter into the operating system of the subconscious mind and make permanent changes where those programs exist. That actually really resonates with a concept that picked up through conversation with Yanni, again, who I thank for bringing this book to me, that came about as a result of her reading The Power of Now. I read a little bit of it and I haven't been able to get motivated to keep reading it. Something about that book just doesn't speak to me. But there's some things that she's gathered from that book and that we've discussed that have really made a difference. For example, we talked about, and Malcolm and I talked about it yesterday too, as a matter of fact. I keep a lot of tabs open on my browser because there are a lot of my browsers on my computers because there are a lot of things that I just don't finish, don't complete, that I'm working on at once. I get distracted easily. I may suffer from ADHD. Another conversation for another day. If you want to learn more about that and talk about that, get into our mental maintenance space on Sundays. Follow at NFT Voices on Twitter, and you can be notified when that space takes place. I got to actually schedule that shit, but I keep all these tabs open on my computer, but I also do that in my brain. I have so many different thoughts and ideas and things I want to do. And before Trello, I was keeping a lot of those ideas ricocheting and bouncing around my head that affected my ability to sleep. It affects my ability to focus, all that. So by dumping those thoughts out into Trello, I've been able to close tabs in my head, in my mind, by doing something with these thoughts rather than just letting them bounce around inside my skull is closing tabs. The information's still there, ready for me to retrieve or act on later because I'm putting it somewhere useful. or where I think is useful. At least I'm making myself believe it's useful. Um, and that's good enough for me. But overcoming the body, closing tabs, part of what I also say I'm doing right now, which is rebooting myself. I'm recoding, rewriting my operating system, and I'm recording, I'm broadcasting, I'm sharing it with you guys. So rebooting, recoding, recording, and closing tabs. Chapter 4. Overcoming time examines how we either live in the anticipation of future events or repeatedly revisit past memories, or both, until the body begins to believe it is living in a time other than the present moment. Wow. Yeah, yeah, that's that. I've read or heard. Maybe this is associated with the power now again too. I don't remember where this came from, but it resonated with me. The concept that depression comes from living in the past or being consumed with things that have happened in your past, consumed with memories, trauma, etc. Anxiety comes from being worried or concerned about things that haven't yet happened or that may never happen, things in the future. So problems exist in the future, in the past, the power of now, for the most part, because I don't subscribe to the philosophy that there's nothing that can pain you. Although I understand where that concept comes from and why people say that. But for the most part, the now is where your safety is. The now is where your joy is. The now is where your peace is. I understand that that doesn't apply, or it's harder for that to apply to somebody who's in jail, for example, or somebody who's being attacked, who's suffering from a chronic disease or chronic pain. But I understand also that there is a possibility that through getting a better relationship with your mind and a better understanding of your mind and yourself, maybe not even your mind, maybe it's your soul, maybe it's something else, your spirit, you can transcend. Or I've read and I've been told and I've seen people talk about how you can transcend physical pain, physical suffering. And I believe it. I mean, you see people doing polar bear challenges, you see people walking on fire. There, I believe that there are ways, or that it's very highly likely that there are ways to overcome all challenges in the mind and still find inner peace. I don't have all the answers on that yet, but I feel like I'm seeing a path to that. I hope that's something I'm going to get and benefit from as a result of this whole journey, but partially through what I learned from this book as well. So, overcoming time examines how we either live in the anticipation of future events, anxiety, or repeatedly revisit past memories, depression, or both, until the body begins to believe it is living in a time other than the present moment. I believe this is where I was and what was happening to me when I was in the darkest part of my depression and anxiety battle, the PTSD, the trauma battle with myself, the war with my own spirit. Um, the latest research supports the notion that we have a natural ability to change the brain and body by thought alone so that it looks biologically like some future event has already happened. This is where some people might get turned off, get scared, get spooked. These, I'll be honest, when reading some of these parts, even I get a little uncomfortable. Just like, dude, are you tripping? Are you talking about some? Are you about to go off onto some weird, spooky shit? Um, but I'm gonna take the ride. I'm gonna take the ride. I'm gonna look at something that makes me uncomfortable because it's different and it challenges my current operating system to process differently. I can't just say, "Oh, this doesn't sound like it makes sense. It sounds like some spooky shit," and just discard it because I've already gained. There's always been value I've gleaned from reading the book. So let me see what other value there is. I don't, just because I'm reading it doesn't mean I have to absorb it and take it on as fact. I need to at least look at it objectively, pull my feelings out of it, pull my past, um, what's formed my mindset um, out of this, and look at this without judgment so I can just absorb the information, and then process it for myself. So, because you can make more thought more real than anything else, you can change who you are from brain cell to gene, giving the right understanding. When you learn how to use your attention and access the present, you will enter through the door to the quantum field where all potentials exist. Shout out to Ant-Man, Quantumania coming out next year. Chapter 5, Survival versus Creation, Marvel Paney. Survival versus creation illustrates the distinction between living in survival and living in creation. Living in survival entails living in stress and functioning as a materialist, believing that the outer world is more real than the inner world. When you are under the gun of the fight or flight nervous system, being run by its cocktail of intoxicating chemicals, you are programmed to be concerned only about your body, the things or people in your environment, and your obsession with time. Your brain and body are out of balance. You are living a predictable life. However, when you are truly in the elegant state of creation, you are nobody, no thing, no time. You forget about yourself. You become pure consciousness, free from the chains of the identity that needs the outer reality to remember who it thinks it is. Yeah, soaking. Part 2, your brain and meditation. In chapter 6, 3 brains, thinking to doing to being, you will embrace the concept that you have 3 brains that allow you to move from thinking to doing to being. Even better, when you focus your attention to the exclusion of your environment, your body, and time, you can easily move from thinking to being without having to do anything. In that state of mind, your brain does not distinguish between what is happening in the outer world of reality and what is happening in the inner world of your mind. Thus, if you can mentally rehearse a desired experience via thought alone, you will experience the emotions of that event before it has physically manifested. Now you are moving into a new state of being because your mind and body are working as one. When you begin to feel like some potential future reality is happening to you in the moment that you are focusing on it, you are rewriting. Let me fix this. Sorry, I'm stumbling. The yawn coming, there was something off. When you begin to feel like some potential future reality is happening to you in the moment that you are focusing on it, you are rewriting your automatic habits, attitudes, and other unwanted subconscious programs. Recoding. Chapter 7, The Gap, explores how to break free from the emotions that you've memorized, which have become your personality, and how to close the gap between who you really are in your inner private world and how you appear in the outer social world. We all reach a certain point when we stop learning and realize that nothing external can take away those familiar feelings from our past. If you can predict the feeling of every experience in your life, there's no room for anything new to occur because you're viewing your life from the past instead of the future. This is the juncture point where the soul either breaks free or falls into oblivion. You will learn to liberate your energy in the form of emotions and thus narrow the gap between how you appear and who you are. Ultimately, you'll create transparency. When how you appear is who you are truly free. And yo, that really touches, that really hits because yeah, I just didn't feel for so long. I didn't know who I was because I wasn't free. I wasn't free to explore who I really was. I was constantly being told that I was too nice, that I was too this, I was this, I was that, and I believed that shit too many times. I took the words of the people that I considered loved ones and who are still loved ones, just maybe from afar, and I ingrained that shit in me, and that shit is other people's trauma, other people's pain, other people's hurt. That's kind of why today's episode is named what it is. I don't even remember what the hell it's named. Today's episode is named "That Darkness Isn't Yours." All that darkness that was became who I was, all that depression, all that self-doubt, all that feeling like an imposter and feeling like I wasn't talented or capable or I wasn't enough, all that came from me accepting other people's definitions, societal definitions, um, judgment from the outside that was based on other people's pain and trauma. I ate that shit up, and that shit ate me up. True. Let's keep it going, right? Gotta see where I got left off. So that was into that paragraph. Part two concludes with chapter 8, meditation, demystifying the mystical, and waves of your future, in which my purpose is to demystify meditation so that you know what you are doing and why. Important for me because meditation is something I still struggle with, mostly because I haven't put consistent energy into that daily for an extended period of time consistently. Discussing brainwave wave technology made simple. I show you how your brain changes electromagnetically when you are focused versus when you are in an aroused state due to the stressors in your life. You will learn that the true purpose of meditation is to get beyond the analytical mind and enter into the subconscious mind so you can make real and permanent changes. If you get up for meditation as the same person who sat down, nothing has happened to you on any level. When you meditate and connect to something greater, you can create and then memorize such coherence between your thoughts and feelings that nothing in your outer reality, no thing, no person, no condition at any place or time, can move you from that level of energy. Now you are mastering your environment, your body, and time. This is that walk on fire that I'm thinking. I'm thinking this is that walk on what gives you the ability to walk on fire, the ability to do ice bucket challenges or those polar bear things where you go run and jump into freezing water. Part three, stepping toward your new destiny. All of the information in parts one and two is provided in order to equip you with the necessary knowledge so that when you demonstrate, apply this information in part three, which supplies the how to, you will have a direct experience of what you've been taught. Part three is all about applying yourself in an actual discipline, a mindful exercise to use in your daily life. It's a step by step meditation process created so you can actually do something with the theories given to you. This is the type of stuff I know Yanni's itching for me to get to. Um, she's so, like I said, unconditional love. She's so invested in me finding self-help resources that that will help me because she cares that much about my well-being, and she knows that the better she's doing this so that she can become a better person. She can become a happier and healthier person. She's finding that joy for herself, and she wants me to find that same joy. That's it's priceless, man. I feel like this chapter, part three, is really gonna be. I feel like there's gonna be some breakthroughs for me in that at that period. So I'm looking. That's another reason why I'm recording this stuff. I want to be able to possibly look back at some of this and see where I was at the beginning of this book and where I land toward the end. I'm seeing some major transformations in her that are inspiring already. Um, so I got 2 pages and a paragraph to go, and then we're gonna stop before part one. We'll start part one tomorrow. So let's go. By the way, did your mind balk when I mentioned the multi-step process? If so, it's not what you think. Yes, you will learn a sequence of actions, but soon you will experience them as one or two simple steps. After all, you probably perform multiple actions every time you prepare to drive your car. For example, you adjust the seat, put on your seatbelt, check the mirrors, start the car, turn on the headlights, look around, use the turn signal, apply the brake, put the car in drive or reverse, apply pressure to the gas pedal, and so on. Ever since you learned to drive, you've executed this procedure easily and automatically. I assure you, The same will be true once you learn each step in part 3. That's inspiring. That makes me feel like, okay, that makes sense. Let me go on this journey. Let me finish and complete the book. Sounds genius to me. At least it's a great way of setting up a program and priming somebody to push through and read through to the end of your book. Who that down? Uh, GRYSKLL. Shout out to Mon. Zoe. Peace. Good morning. Um, so ever since you learned to drive, okay, I assure you, you may be asking yourself, why do I need parts 1 and 2? I'll just jump to part 3. I know. I'd probably be thinking the same. I decided to offer the relevant knowledge in the first 2 parts of the text so that when you get to the third section, nothing will be left to conjecture, dogma, or speculation. When you begin the steps of the meditation, you'll know exactly what you're doing and why. When you comprehend the what and the why, the more you will know, and thus the more you will know how when the time comes. Therefore, you will have more power and intention behind the practical experience of truly changing your mind. By using the steps in part 3, you may become more prone to accept your innate ability to change so-called impossible situations in your life. You might even give yourself permission to entertain potential realities that you never considered prior to your exposure to these new concepts. You might just begin to do the uncommon. That is my aim for you by the time you finish this book. So if you can resist the temptation to jump ahead to part 3, I promise that when you get there, you'll be quite empowered by what you learn. I've seen this approach work throughout the world in the series of 3 workshops that I lead. When people gain the right knowledge in such a way that they understand it completely and then have the opportunity for effective instruction to apply what they comprehend, then like magic, they can see the fruits of their efforts in the form of changes that serve as feedback in their lives. I hate the way I read that, the end of these sentences. I'm learning how to read out loud at the same time I'm doing this. I'm enjoying that. Part 3 will give you the meditative skills to change something within your mind and body to produce an effect outside of you. Once you can notice what you did inside of you that produced an outcome outside of you, you'll do it again. When a new experience manifests in your life, you'll embrace the energy you feel in the form of an elevated emotion such as empowerment, awe, or immense gratitude, and that energy will drive you to do it again and again. Now you're on a path to true evolution. Each meditation step delineated in part 3 is associated with a piece of meaningful information presented earlier in the book. Because you'll have cultivated the meaning behind exactly what you're doing, there should be no ambiguity that might cause you to lose your vision. Like many skills you've learned, in the beginning, it may take all of your conscious effort to stay focused as you learn how to meditate to evolve your brain. In the process, you must restrain yourself from typical behaviors and maintain your thoughts on what you're doing without wandering to extraneous stimuli so your actions are aligned with your intention. Just as you might have experienced when you first learned to cook Thai food, play golf, dance salsa, or drive a stick shift, the newness of the endeavor will require you to practice this ability continually, training both mind and body to memorize each step. Remember, most types of instruction are formatted in bite-sized chunks so that the mind and body can begin to work together. Once you get it, all the individual steps you kept reviewing merge into one smooth process. The methodical, linear approach seamlessly flows into a holistic, effortless, unified demonstration. This is the point of personal ownership. At times, the effort this takes can be tedious, but if you persist with a certain amount of will and energy, in time you'll enjoy the results. When you know that you know how to do something, you're on your way to mastering it. I'm overjoyed to say that many people around the world are already using the knowledge in this book to make demonstrable changes in their lives. It is my sincere passion that you too break the habit of being yourself and create the new life you desire. Let's get started. Then we roll on to the science of you. Oh, that's not going to work because I turned off autofocus. We roll on to the science of you tomorrow morning. So Thanks if you sat in with me and rocked with me today. If you are rocking on the recording, thank you as well. I appreciate you. If not, this has been great practice for me in preparation for what I'm doing to help build the communities that I'm co-founding, co-building in GRYSKLL, House of Fluid Reflections, Project RMA, Rap Heads, NFT Voices, and I'm sure there'll be more to come. So have a good day on purpose. Peace and love you. Peace, love, and all that other junk. I'm not gonna call it junk. Peace and love, and remember that